You're listening to Mr. Credit on San Diego 1700 with local credit expert Derek Evans. Now, live in studio, Mr. Credit.
Mr. Credit, we are live and local here in San Diego. We're bringing you the most important hour in radio. There's no question about it. We're telling you everything they don't want you to know. Today, we are going to have a great show. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff today. We're going to really hit home. A couple of these things are going to hit home, I promise you that. How old is too old for trick-or-treating? Oh, yeah. That's where we're going. That's where we're going today. I know Brooke's going to have an opinion. We'll get to that in a second. First of all, World Series, Game 1, it's here. It is here. Okay, I'm on the wrong bank. We don't want to hear. We don't want to. Yeah, it's the horse races today, also, a.k.a. the World Series. The horse race between the Rangers and the Giants right here on ESPN 1700 starts at 4 o'clock. Pre-game coverage, I believe the game starts at 4:30. You can listen to all of the World Series action right here on ESPN 1700, so save this station in your dial. I can't help. I've been trying to stay away from this because you got so many of these people drinking the Kool-Aid now on this Boise State stuff, and I can't help it after seeing the game last night. Is it really that hard, and we're going to go deep here, is it really that hard to just say that we don't know? Do we have to have an opinion that this team deserves to be in the top 5 or that they don't? Or can we just say, you know what? We don't know. Because we don't know. They have not played a single opponent that you could say is a good litmus test to see where this team stands. Now, the BCS is garbage. So I'm not even going to talk about that. But the coaches poll? The coaches poll has Boise State at number 2. Well, what happens, though? Even Mel Kiper Jr. is drinking this Boise State Kool-Aid. Now, hold on. Think about this. What does everyone go to who's arguing for Boise State being a legitimate team to contend for the title, the national title? They all say the same thing. They play well in the big game every time they've been there. What, twice? They've upset better teams like twice. All those players on those teams are gone. What if they lost those games miserably? Would they be like 15th? I mean, we can't judge a team based on guys who aren't there anymore. And that's what all these guys are doing. We have to be able to say, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that Boise State stinks. I'm telling you that I don't know, and you don't either. And until they play a team that's actually decent, neither one of us will know. Now, you put Boise State against Oregon, Oregon might score 100 points. I'm serious. Boise might get 30 or 40, but Oregon might hang up a 100 on them. I'm dead serious. They are. I mean, from what I've seen, they are not anywhere near the caliber. Do you really think that Boise State would beat Alabama? Do you really think that Boise State would beat Missouri? Do you really think Boise State would beat Oklahoma or LSU or Stanford? Because they're ranked higher than all of these teams. How about Auburn, TCU, Michigan State? You think Boise State would beat all these teams? Well, that is what the coaches poll is telling you when Boise State is ranked number 2, right behind Oregon at number 1, is that Boise State is better than and would defeat Auburn, TCU, Michigan State, Alabama, Utah, Missouri, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Nebraska, LSU, Stanford. Do I need to keep going? There's absolutely no way that we can say any of that. No way. I'm not saying it's not possible, but we can't say it for certain. And if we can't say it for certain, then you can't rank them number 2. Got to stop drinking this Boise State Kool-Aid, guys. I mean, if they're really that good of a program, go to a different conference. Because you're not going to figure out where a team stands when they're playing Louisiana Tech. That you just don't know. You just don't know where they stand. That's like me playing one-on-one against an 8-year-old. I'm going to win every time. Does that mean I'm any good? No. So, let's be realistic here, and let's actually rank teams based on what we know. instead of what they have tricked us to think over the years. Kind of reminds me of how the banks have done with something called bankruptcy. The number one thing they don't want you to know. What have they done? They have over time subliminally shot all this information into your brain to make you think it's the worst thing you could ever do. Bankruptcy? Oh, that's the last thing I'd ever want to do. Why? How come? I mean, do you know the facts? No, you don't. You don't know whether Boise State deserves to be second or not. So let's just say we don't know. But I do know for a fact that bankruptcy is not bad for you. It's bad for them. And that's why they don't want you to know about it. That's why they don't want you to learn about it. Because it's something that is good for you and bad for them. I'm going to try hard not to cough today, but I just don't know if I can do it. I can't kick this thing. It's crushing me. Maybe if the sun would just stay out and we could not have rain for once, then I wouldn't have this problem. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But bankruptcy is something that helps people. I see it every day. You get into a bad financial situation and you get yourself out of it. That's the reason why people like Donald Trump, Henry Ford, Walt Disney have filed for bankruptcy in the past. You get in a bad situation, you get out. It's a parachute. You fall out of the plane, you pull the ripcord. Not a big deal. Did you know that your credit actually goes higher almost every single time with Chapter 7 bankruptcy? And you can delete all of your debt. Imagine right now if you could eliminate completely all of your credit card debt. Any and all credit card debt that you have. How about personal loans? All those are gone. Any collections? Gone. Medical bills? Gone. You got wage garnishments, judgments, things like that going on? Those are also gone now. That's what Chapter 7 does. It only takes 100 days. 100 days and you're done. You're done. The credit score goes higher. The debt is gone. Fresh start. Become debt-free. That is the truth. That is the truth about Chapter 7 bankruptcy. It is a good thing for people, and it is bad for the big banks. They want you to think that it's bad for you too, and it's just not true. It's just not true. It can actually save your employment. We had William McDonald on a couple weeks ago, was giving us that story about how in the bankruptcy code, you can actually keep your employment. You're more likely to be able to keep it because once you filed, you can't be discriminated against. So no one's going to want to fire you after you file for bankruptcy. Isn't that crazy? They don't want you to know this stuff. I'm telling you, bankruptcy is good for you. Now, if you have questions about bankruptcy, make sure you only call one person. The best bankruptcy attorney in Southern California is William McDonald with the McDonald Legal Group. Free consultation, 858-437-0103. 858-437-0103. Happened to go to law school at Oregon, so he is riding high on Oregon being ranked number 1 right now, and they should be. They're the best team. But when it comes to becoming debt-free, when it comes to relieving financial stress, look, we get one shot at this thing called life, and we better enjoy it. Yahoo! We don't, we will really regret it. And financial stress is something you don't have to necessarily deal with. It's something that you can get relief from. That's why I call it bankruptcy relief. Call William McDonald today for a free consultation. It's 858-437-0103. The way it works, you call the office, they answer, they'll schedule a time for you to come in and sit down. You sit down with William McDonald himself. You become educated about how this stuff works, how you and your family could potentially benefit. If it's not something that's going to be good for you, he will tell you. He's a straight shooter, a great guy. Trust me on this one. This is worth becoming educated about. It's free. 858-437-0103. Now, we've got some really interesting articles to get to today. There's some stuff in San Diego here. These former San Diego officials are actually settling with the SEC. So, we notice, I've always said, look, you can legislate, you can make all the rules you want. But it doesn't mean anything unless you have something in place to enforce them. And what keeps happening is these guys break the rules, and then our enforcement bodies go in and cut them a deal. They go in and cut them a deal for money. Every single time. We could prosecute these guys for all the wrongdoings they're doing, but we don't do it. Why? Because we're broke. The federal government's broke. The state government's broke. The local government's broke. Everybody. So they're just looking for the quick buck. Couldn't avoid it. So we have everything in place that we need. We don't need any more rules. We need to actually enforce them. Stop giving these guys breaks because they have enough money to pay you off. Gosh. Makes us look so bad. And we caught them. They're admitting to doing wrong. They're settling. They're saying, yeah, all right, yeah, you got us. How big of a check do I need to write? You know? We can't let these guys get away with this stuff. It's just ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
I'm going to go into the details of that after I take a breath. But we also got banks now spending tons of money on college campuses. You're not going to believe this. You are not going to believe what the banks are doing. It just blows my mind every time I see it. I can't believe it. We're letting them poison our children. I mean, I don't know why we let them get away with all this stuff. We let them get away with breaking the rules. Oh, just write us a check. We let them poison our children. Oh, well, they're writing a pretty big check. Come on. Do we have any morals? Do we have any foresight at all? Can we see into the future? Can we see past what's right in front of our face for once? It's just killing me on a daily basis here. So we're going to get to those stories when we come back. And we're also going to touch on, since Halloween is right around the corner, you probably got a costume party to go to the next day or two, if not on Saturday, which I believe is the day. It might be Sunday. How old is too old for trick-or-treating? I measure this in a certain way. I want to see how you measure it. I can tell you the last time I went trick-or-treating, which is kind of embarrassing. But I'm going to get to all that stuff and more important information about the most important things on this show. Being happy, putting money in your pocket, and the truth. Everything they don't want you to know when we come back. Mr. Credit Radio, ESPN 1700.
If you have questions about your credit, call 858-673-4299. That's 858-673-4299 to speak with Mr. Credit, or go to MrCreditRadio.com.
You know, I've worked with plenty of different mortgage companies in San Diego, and while there are some who do a great job, there is only one that I can say is truly the best in the business. The Craig Sewing Lending Group provides an experience and expertise in real estate financing that is absolutely second to none. I've known Craig for a dozen years, and I know you would be satisfied working with him. Call 888-880-9500. That's 888-880-9500, or go to craigsewing.com if you're interested in buying real estate in Southern California. It's also worth considering the terms on your loan if you already own property. Rates are at levels that just absolutely boggle the mind right now, and chances are you could save some easy money here. Call Craig Sewing today, 888-880-9500, and tell him Mr. Credit sent you. That's 888-880-9500, or online at craigsewing.com.
If you're facing a divorce, custody, or child support issue, don't go it alone. You need the professionals at 1-800-DIVORCE to help protect your rights.
This is Rick Jones of the law firm Goldberg & Jones. Selecting the right attorney for your divorce is one of the most important decisions a man can make. Even though your case may last only a few months, the impact lasts a lifetime. Our firm represents husbands and fathers in divorce, custody, and child support cases.
Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Get your phone questions answered at no charge. That's 1-800-DIVORCE, serving the entire greater San Diego area.
Call 1-800-DIVORCE.
The Constitution guarantees specific rights for the citizens of the country. Your local representative can make necessary changes to improve the condition of the country. If you would like to see changes made, contact your local official by going to diputados.gov.mx. Brought to you by the First Legislature.
Are your wages being garnished? Are you sick of seeing your paycheck be less than what you really earned? If you have any judgments that might be garnishing your wages and you would like to make it stop, filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy relief could allow you to eliminate any judgments and all of your credit card debt. And more often than not, you'll have a much higher credit score afterward. Mr. Credit recommends you speak with William McDonald and the McDonald Legal Group. Call him right now at 858-437-0103. That's 858-437-0103. Times are tough. You need to start getting the paycheck you deserve. Call William right now for a free consultation at 858-437-0103. That's 858-437-0103.
This is Lisa with the McDonald Legal Group. We are a debt relief agency. We help people file for bankruptcy relief under the Bankruptcy Code.